So tell me how the skid marks thing came about.
So I've been trying for a year uh, to. I wanted something. I knew Flair and Hogan had it, like some sort of medical marijuana stuff. I knew nobody else that I would know. No other indie wrestler would have it. So I've been kind of working with the place that I work for the better part of a year to get something. And we happen to have that's a legitimate strain name of weed. We didn't know that. I didn't. Nobody knew that. And
How
then
funny.
when we come across it, they were like, "Hey, here's your chance."
Yeah.
So
So
I
like,
was
how do you go about acquiring that? Do you just like do you order it from like a distributor?
the individual um,
Like, how do you
cart.
contact them once you find out it exists?
So we have three different stores, all in the OKC metro. I know they carry it at other stores. I'm just not exactly sure which ones we wholesale to, but
Mm-hmm.
3420 North May, 104th and Western, and then Santa Fe and Danforth in Edmond. Are
Eden
the
Rose Dispensary,
oh
free plug.
yes,
Skid marks.
amazing. I've heard
Get them
amazing
while they
things.
last. Now, what is it exactly that's in the bag? Is it? It's not like a pre roll or
It's a disposable 2 gram vape cartridge.
vape. Okay, so
Yeah,
like when you get one, like when you get a disposable vape, you don't charge it. You just
you can start right then, just hitting it.
grab and go.
Yeah,
Right on.
it has a charging port on it for the Android. What is a C port?
Seaport. Yeah.
Yep. If it dies out, but I've had the one they gave me for like a month and a half, and it's still.
Crazy how they just last. I don't really get how they last.
I don't even know how. I don't know if they charge them up before they come or, because I mean they'll come empty, but you can start like hitting on it and it lights up and everything. I mean until they put something in it, but
That's above my pay grade, honestly. I had a supervisor years ago at a previous job where he had one of the. It's just a. It's a like a plastic cigarette that he would plug into his like his charger on the dash of his pickup truck, and he would just recharge it and recharge it and recharge it.
that's
He
cool.
sucked on the same stick for like 6 months. And then eventually it just died out. And I said, "What's going into the fucking stick? Like, what is it that you're putting? Like, what does the battery do?" And he's like, "I have no idea." He's
Yeah,
like, "But I haven't touched a cigarette since I got it." So
that's cool.
he just replaced one thing for another, and he just kept going through the motions with it. And yeah, he was good with it. I was like, I wonder what it is that you're putting into your body now because you don't even have a clue. It's weird.
I mean, like the stuff that's inside of it, but like I don't that whole cart
So what is
itself.
Flair selling?
He's got pre rolls, gummies,
All of it.
cart. Yeah, he's got everything.
Okay.
Hogan does too, but I don't know where you get his stuff at.
So Hogan's got
And
he's got his own marijuana. He's got his own beer,
mm-hmm.
and then Lord knows whatever else.
he Hogan's a what do you call it, a grifter?
Drifter. I mean, sure, whatever. What I'm really looking forward to is the potential day. Maybe one day, like since we have a really good relationship with Anthem, maybe they'll come up with like a unified wrestling beer.
Oh, that'd be
I'd be
cool.
so tickled to see that shit happen, because it's like sometimes people just get an idea and an hour later they're already on it. They get busy.
That'd be
They
fun.
they recently put out like their first strand of like non-alcoholics,
Okay.
and non-alcoholic wine and beer is super popular right now because people want to be able to enjoy the um like the environment rather than the reason why, like they're drinking because it's a social thing.
Does it taste the same? I
Yeah,
guess.
I mean it's the same shit without the alcohol. So like you're drinking beer, it's just there's no beer in it. So the the main thing that they're doing is just going to like socialize. They're going to spend time with other people who also enjoy the drink, but they don't want to have to worry about like getting buzzed or drunk or
That'd be cool, I guess,
whatever.
for like alcoholics.
I mean, yeah, I
Like,
mean it's just like the fake cigarette. It's a way to kind of wean you off, but there's a couple of different local beers. Uh, I can't remember what they are off the top of my head, but they're some of the biggest sellers we have. And then there's just a ton of this Stella Rosa wine. It's the same stuff you see at Walmart.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a whole aisle of Stella Rosa at Walmart these days. They're a big multi flavor, multi-billion-dollar brand, and like it's not just red wine, white wine. It's, you know, they've got blackberry stuff, raspberry stuff, cranberry stuff, blueberry stuff, lemon drop stuff.
Good Lord, I didn't know
It,
they've made all that kind of
yeah, man, it's like
mess.
back in the good old days when you would buy like Boone's Farm or MD 2020. It's like that's not wine. That's Kool-Aid with alcohol in it. That's what this shit is. It's fun though. And you know, it's just something else to try. You see a new flavor, a new color, or something that says limited time only on it, they're gonna want to buy it. So, and then if it's not great and it doesn't sell well and people don't enjoy it, once you're done because it's limited time only. So, if they don't want it again, they don't ever have to bring it back. It's not like the McRib, you know.
We did the place where I work at, the Eden Rose. We did a collaboration with the Oklahoma Soda Company when I first started working there.
OKC, yeah,
Yeah,
they're pretty close to where I work too. Yeah, we store a lot of their stuff too.
it. I've had it. I never had it when I was working there, but I had it. I bought some from Walmart. They've got some sort of root beer that's
Well, they have
pretty
like a
good.
Sooner Stampede soda now. It's like a OU themed drink.
Okay,
Yeah, it's got like the old carriage and horses and shit on it. Pretty cool. Kind of looks like a Budweiser can, but like an old one. But you know, it same thing. Someone sees OU on it, they're gonna buy it just because they've got like loyalty or whatever.
that's half the reason I have half the Hulk Hogan stuff that I have. I just bought it because it had Hulk Hogan on
I mean, dude,
it.
say what you want about Hogan. He's got he's got one of those kind of legacies that's going to be hard to tarnish, but he it seems like he's trying everything he can to tarnish it.
Him
Yeah,
and Flair, they're doing a good job.
they're both doing a good job of pissing off everybody.
Well, Hogan, if he just shut up sometimes, I think he'd be all right.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's when certain people get to a certain age, they just quit giving a shit and they just I'm going to say what I want. I don't care anymore. And then 33 people will contact them and say, "Hey man, you got to apologize." Well, I'm not going to apologize. Well, then you're fucked. And usually that's the case. They're fucked.
Well, and then not to get political, but his whole endorsement, I'm sure that didn't help him in his popularity any with
Yeah, but
some
here's the deal.
people.
It paid off though.
Yeah, yeah. Well, true, true.
A month before Trump wins the election, Hogan endorses him, but so does Elon Musk, so does Joe Rogan, so do all the people that are very, you know, far right with the popularity, you know, like
God, could you
right
imagine?
wing people, like red blooded Americans like Hulk Hogan.
I couldn't imagine him like if he was in the damn cabinet or
Well,
something.
Linda is.
Uh, Hogan as the press secretary.
Fuck. Just the promos
Oh God.
alone, you know, just talking about all the stuff that's going on with the economy and shit. You're like, brothers, we got to do something.
Like that. You remember back when Obama was and they did that Key and Peele, they did that
Yeah.
anger transfer
Yeah.
something like that. That'd be funny. Well, I mean, of course, I guess Trump don't need one. He's angry enough as it
No.
is. But
Well, not to mention he doesn't have a filter at all. See, he's one of the only people in the world that the filter thing didn't apply to. He was like, I'm going to double down on everything I say.
I Hogan, I think his whole that conversation, that phone conversation, is what got him with the racism thing
Eh,
with when she was dating that football player.
well, the other thing, too, um, uh,
Brooke, I couldn't think of her
well, a
name.
lot of the stuff that happened to Hogan wasn't his fault because he got leaked, you know? And not saying it's okay to say racist shit. I'm just saying, like, he wasn't saying it in public. He wasn't saying it to the public, and he wasn't saying it in the context of hate. It was just like he wasn't happy, you know. It's like well, that's still kind of fucked up, but he said it behind closed doors in the privacy of someone's home, and then somebody else put it on the internet and tried to fucking ruin his life.
I noticed they didn't mention him on Saturday Night's Main Event.
Well, they didn't mention a lot of people. They didn't mention Vince either.
Well,
But that I do think that's also interesting. Is like there was a long stretch of time there where they didn't talk about Hogan at all, and they just made Warrior
Oh,
like the guy, and then Warrior passes away, but he also turns out to be an ass. So they take him off of it. They don't mention Savage at all. They spend a lot of time avoiding certain people. For 30 years, they didn't talk about Jesse Ventura at all because of politics.
yeah.
That and the union thing.
I don't think he'd have come back had it if Vince would have still been
Of course
around.
not. I mean, he did come back in the 90s because he refereed a few SummerSlams.
Oh yeah, that when Austin was real big,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
And
I
then
remember
there was a
that.
couple of times where he popped in for like a Raw, like a Legends Raw. He was I think he was there the year before they brought Jake back. It was a big deal when Jake came back and he put the snake on Ambrose.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah.
But he again, wrestling is about perception, and perception is reality, right? So he can say I haven't been here in 40 years. What he was saying was I haven't been to Saturday night's main event in 40 years. And everybody's like, you were here like 12 years ago. It's not what he meant. It is what it is.
I still like him. I still think he's funny. I know his some of his shtick wasn't like working,
He's
but I
very
was
tired.
yeah,
He's an old man.
but it's still funny. I mean, still trying to put over the heels and stuff. That's funny to
I
me.
love that because he has a perspective. It's a point of view that nobody else uses. The color guy, the guy who does the color commentary, is the guy that's supposed to show both sides of the coin and both points of view. The play-by-play guy, he's just supposed to call the moves. They've been so supportive of baby faces in commentary for the last like 20 years that no one's ever even, you know, given like a fair shake at the heel.
Oh yeah,
there's justification for what he's doing. He got screwed. They just assume that you're supposed to agree with the good guy all the time. But that's because the good guy for the last 20 years, if it wasn't, John Cena or Steve Austin, I mean, it happened with Austin and Ross. Jim Ross would always justify what Austin did, but he was supposed to be the babyface.
oh
He's
yeah,
a babyface
true.
doing heel shit. Eddie was a babyface who did heel shit. And, all the commentary would do is laugh about it. But as soon as the heel does something that's justified, they would be like, damn that man to hell. That son of a bitch. Like, do you watch wrestling now?
Sometimes not enough to keep up like from week to week. Like the last thing I saw was the CM Punk and Seth Rollins promo that they one they just did.
Right, right. Yeah,
So
that was a while ago. I mean, I got tuned out a lot before Punk came back, what was it, 4 years ago? And then when he did, it gave me a lot of interest in wrestling again. Because like I'm one of those guys. It's like I'll watch who I like,
oh yeah,
and if there's nobody I like, I don't care to watch. So like right now, even on Raw, like I'm watching for Punk, and like when his segment's over and I know he's not coming back, I just kind of tune out or shut it off. Because like not to be having small kids and stuff, like it's bedtime. I got other shit I got to worry about, but if he's on the screen, I'll stop and pay attention to it, and then whenever it's over, I move back on to doing what I was doing. He he's really entertaining in a sense that he has a lot of honesty about what he's doing and says.
oh yeah, yeah.
There's no storylines for him. He's like, I don't have any fake story to tell. I just want to go with something that happened in reality, and then if we can put our spin on it to make it an entertaining promo or shoot or.
And I used to hate him. I don't know why, like for no reason. It took me a long time to see his genius. Like I used to couldn't stand to even listen to him talk. But
Is there anybody that you have an irrational distaste for? Like no matter what they do, you'll never like them.
it was like wrestling wise.
Well, not your coworkers for sure.
um, probably John Moxley. Seriously, I can't. I've never liked him at all, and
That's
then
fair.
especially with the stuff that he's doing now, that whole Death Rider stuff that just annoys me so bad.
I hear a lot of negative about it because
Would
like what I don't watch, I at least listen to. Like I listen to Bully on Busted Open. I listen to Cornette. I listen to Conrad and pretty much everybody on his podcast. So there's just so many, you can't keep up with all of them. So you get to pick and choose when you have options now, you know. But yeah, there's not a lot of people that are super big fans of that. For my lifetime, you cannot convince me to like the Miz. I've never been a fan, even when he was like a good young baby face, wore long shorts. He just was obnoxious to me in a sense that I didn't want to see him on my TV.
I
And
get that.
there's a lot of people like that. I didn't like Del Rito. Anything to do with Del Rio, I couldn't enjoy. Still can't. Then you find out he's a piece of shit in real life, and that kind of makes you not want to be a fan of his anymore.
Ryback. I would definitely say
Man,
Ryback.
there was a minute. There was a minute where I was a fan. That was like when he was doing 2-on-1s and he was winning in like 90 seconds and he was hitting his finish on two people at once. I enjoyed that shit. He was just squashing people for like 6 months and it was enjoyable, but it was also like, well, where are they going to go? What's he going to do? And when he does get a chance to have real matches, is he going to be able to have them?
Now, Moxley and Ryback is far better than I am and have been far more than I'll ever be. But personally, I just don't really care for him.
It's all about reps, man. I wrestle every Saturday, every Thursday. If I can get time on days other than those, you know, I try to avoid it as best as possible, you know, but you know, when you're working Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 4 times a week, and then you get some ring time on your day off, or you go to a school, or even just go to a private gym with a ring and roll on one of your off days just to kind of stay tuned up. You know, those guys have different conditioning than guys that just work, you know, once a month or twice a month tops. It's because they spend so much time in the ring that they actually have the talent that they have. It's not something that just gets learned overnight, and it is something that you forget too. I mention that all the time. There's a lot of stuff that I will forget, and then I'll be in the middle of a match in a random town against a random person, and I'll think, "Oh shit, I used to do this all the time." Half the time I don't call it; I just do it. What the fuck was that? It's just something I did 10 years ago.
I
I've definitely forgotten more than I'll ever learn at this point. That's why I like teaching. You know, I feel like you'd be a fun teacher. You'd be a good guy to have in like a promo class. Because the dude, your promos about being in a damn barn.
this shit talk is
Just shit talks fun.
natural. I think my mom and dad, they were both natural shit talkers, so
Yeah.
they could have cut some Ric Flair style promo.
Fuck yeah.
I think at some point.
Shit, there was a good stretch of time with me and my mother, like how we told each other I love you was fuck you back. Like good banter between the two of us for quite some time. I love that fucking woman. She's so much fun. Like
She
she's just a good lady.
she reminds me quite a bit of my mom, except she's my mom's a little bit, I think, louder. Like my mom talks real loud.
Mm.
She kind of it's kind of in your face.
See, the if my mother starts screaming, just start running because she's gonna throw anything she can get her hands on at you. I used to spend as much time in my room as possible just because, like, if she needed me bad enough, she could tell me what she needed to tell me from across the fucking house. She's loud as shit, but she wasn't gonna bother me unless she absolutely needed to, you know. But
You're
if we were just chilling, we'd just be, you know, hanging out, you know, in our bedrooms as kids, and she'd be chilling in the living room doing her thing, doing mom stuff. It was super quiet, super calm, super chill, and then it was like dinner. Like, dinner time comes, and like we'd hurry up and eat. We were basically told like hurry up and eat. And the reason why they wanted us to hurry up and eat was because they didn't want the food to go cold, right? Well, the older I got, the more it was like, hey, you better hurry up and eat what's on your plate because if your brother does first, he's going to go get seconds. He's going to eat all the fucking food, and then you're going to be hungry. And then it became a race. We'd fucking clean our fucking plates, dude. Because that dude could eat. And he was like always in shape, always thin.
he eat real fast and shit. Because my brother, he was always like he
Yeah.
was always real skinny and shit, but he always ate like
He had the fucking metabolism of a fucking horse.
he'd
Like,
eat like a hamburger, and be like
gone.
and be gone. Yeah.
3 bites. No, but I mean, my brother was cool as shit. It was just like when it came time to eat, it was like, dude, Like say she made like fried chicken legs or something. Like we know there's 8, and he's got 2, I've got 2, mom's got 2. That means there's 2 left. Like he wants those motherfuckers, and I do too. So it's like we're trying to clean our plates so we can get back to the stove, and we're fighting over, like it's like, hey, 1 and 1, and then my mom, she'd be like, well, what if I wanted one? Well, fuck. Now who's gonna fight for it? It was good times though.
I never. My mom always scared me, so I never did. That was the one person in my entire life that my dad, nobody. I was never scared of anybody except my mom, and still to this day.
Really?
Yeah, a couple years ago, I was at her house, and I was like at the end of the hallway, and she was wanting her house key back, and I took it off, and I was gonna just throw it at her, like I intended on to just like hit her, kind of like, nah, bro, it bounced, like it hit her right here and bounced off, and she just stops like and looking crazy. I just start backing up because I was going to go into the back into the bedroom and lock the door because I was scared.
She's going to kill me.
Yeah, she made that look, and I was like, hell, I'd rather fight Brock Lesnar right now than have my mom looking at me like that.
I don't think I was ever that afraid of her. I do remember the one time. So like, I'm like 7 or 8 years old, and she's working at the library, and I'm out there in the park. There's a big grassy area, lots of trees, and there's a playground, but I'm never on the playground. I'm climbing in the trees. I'm up in the tree, and I just hear her call my name. And she called it once, and I didn't answer. She called it twice. I didn't want to go back inside the library. I wanted to be outside. So I'm ignoring her, thinking she'll just go back inside, not think anything of it. Well, I go back in the library after about 15 more minutes, and I come inside the front door, and I come like there's like a lobby area, and then you go down and go to the left, and it takes you into the big area where there's a big like kiosk, and that's where the librarians sit behind the desk. And as soon as I shut that door behind me, I start hearing these fucking sirens, and I'm like, oh no. And I look outside, and 3 cop cars pull up in the parking lot, and I know they're coming to talk to her about me because she called the police. So I run in, and before the cops come, because I'm thinking they're coming to arrest me or something, and she beats my ass. Like, I've never been spanked that hard in my life. It was so funny in hindsight that she beat me out of fear of losing me in front of the police. Kicked the shit out of me, dude. It was really funny though, like just thinking about it, because like I didn't want to freak her out like that. I just wanted to stay outside. She's like, I just needed you for a minute. You could have gone right back outside. She's like, now you're never going outside again. I thought that was pretty fair. Yeah, that was good stuff. Being a 8-year-old kid and just getting the cops called on you and fucking getting in trouble all the time.
That's funny as shit. My mom. I don't know if she'd have called the cops. I'd have probably just been on the back of a milk carton. Probably. No, she was. I never really got into my brother. On the other hand, he's doing really good now. But man, growing up, he was a little asshole.
Yeah,
a big asshole. He's older than I am,
yeah.
so I guess a big asshole.
Well, what made him an asshole?
Oh, I guess I was the good. I guess he might not have been. I was just the goody two shoes always, and so I was,
like, by association, he was the good one.
No,
you were the good one.
Yeah, just anything he did was just, But I can honestly say I'm proud of that dude. He's been clean for about a year now. So
did he get into drugs?
Little over, yeah. He had gotten real bad, and then I guess it's been a little over a year. He's been staying at this place in Tulsa. It's like it's not really a halfway house, but it's called the Howe Foundation or something like that.
Like a rehabilitation place. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he's got a girlfriend. First time he's ever been clean. Gonna have his own place and stuff like that. So he's doing really good.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah. You live in an apartment, right? You like do you like living alone?
I do. I just wished I had a house just for the dogs.
Yard.
But yeah.
No, I had a 2-bedroom apartment to myself for 2 years, and it was some of the best. Like, it wasn't like it was the best time of my life or anything, but I learned more living alone in that apartment in those 2 years than I did in like 10 years of living in a house with 5 roommates. Like I lived in a single wide trailer, 4 bedrooms, so 2 on one end, 2 on the other, and then like the common area in the middle was like the half kitchen, half living room.
Okay,
I mean,
yeah.
you've been in a single wide trailer. They're not very big, right?
Mm-mm.
But I'm at one end. It's me and my girlfriend. And then Rick Russo, who at the time he's like 46, he's in the middle room and there's a bathroom between us. So he and I share that bathroom.
Is he Russell?
He did, yeah, for a long time.
Okay.
Yeah, he moved back to California. No, he was the gun show Rick Russo. He's a bad motherfucker.
I know you're, yeah.
And then the commissioner of Sooner World Class Wrestling, L.J. McDaniels, he was in the bedroom down the hall. And then in the very back in the master bedroom was Kevin James Sanchez. But before Kevin moved in, my brother and his girlfriend lived there. So like while my brother was still alive, we were trying to kind of figure out like, Kevin needs a place to go. We got to figure it out. We were just going to let him kind of have the living room for a while. And then my brother, like the timing was just strange. My brother ended up passing away and his girlfriend moved out. I mean, she didn't want to stay.
Right
No
after.
reason to stay if he's not there. Right. So she takes off and Kevin ends up in that bedroom, but like it's two down here, a third, a fourth, a fifth, and a sixth. And then eventually, what would have been a seventh and in a 4 bedroom but single wide trailer house. And there's constantly friends coming over, crashing on the couch. It's a big wrestling fraternity, basically. There's 6 or 7 guys coming over every Friday and Saturday night. If there's not a wrestling show, they're coming over to watch wrestling, play wrestling video games, talk about wrestling, whatever. And it's just like I'm 17, 18 years old at the time. And there's almost a guarantee that there will be either 40, 80, or 120 cans of Coors Light on the kitchen counter. And they would just look at us and say, boys, it's not going to drink itself. So there's a guy named John Stone. He was Johnny Stone. He was another Oklahoma City guy. He'd come spend the night. There was another guy named David Kaiser. He'd come out. Then there was like Damian Morte, Rage Logan, um, Sean McKeag. There was Damon Windsor. Tons of guys that were just working the Oklahoma City loops and working like for SWCW or MSWA that would come and just hang out, and it would just be parties and lots of alcohol. And
I did one SWCW show. Actually, didn't even come up here or come to the city to wrestle. I come to. We're trying to buy some belts. A buddy of mine was
right
doing
on.
that. God, what was it called? Tap. It was like Tornado Alley Pro or something like that.
That Mike York's company.
Yep. And it was me, Mike York, Mike Steerwalt. I feel like there was somebody else, and they ended up calling one of those guys somehow, and they're like, if y'all, they didn't have enough guys to wrestle, and so we
Needing
ended
some
up.
extras.
I had no gear, no nothing, so I ended up being a part of the Pink Nation. I had on some the shortest crushed velvet trunks I've ever worn in my
So
life.
who was in the Pink Nation? Who's that?
Uh, Gosh, back
Because that
then,
was like a big Tulsa heel tag, like a heel group, right?
yeah,
There's a half dozen people in that group, I think.
yeah, there was Bo Dalton was the guy that started it.
Mm-hmm.
I know some stuff happened there, but God, who all was in? Paul Lynham was in it, which I don't know if you knew who that was. He ended up doing some MMA or something and become a firefighter and lives in Sapulpa and
Is
all
that his
that.
work name, Paul Lino?
Paul, that's his real name too. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember that one.
Real young, good looking kid. I mean, if he would have stuck with it, he could have probably. I mean, probably been one of those
Mm-hmm.
guys that made kind of like the Kenny Dyke. Kind of reminded me of Kenny Dykstra.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, I mean, that look, that
Yeah.
kind of. Uh, God, who all was in that? Honestly, can't remember who. I'd have to look it up. Who all?
Yeah.
There was quite a few people that was
I
in
know
there.
there's a half dozen people in that group because I used to see that all the time. I used to see results with that all the time. And they did come down to Sooner once or twice because Bo Dalton used to be in a tag team with this guy named Luke LaPointe,
Yes,
and he
yeah,
was kind of a pirate gimmick. And that was back when SWCW had a title. It was called the Sooner Extreme Championship, but it was at the same time that they had a hardcore title. So I was like, "What is the Sooner Extreme title?" And they were like, "It's just another one of the titles. It's kind of a maybe like a United States or an Intercontinental title, and I was like, but it's the Sooner Extreme title. Like, what's extreme about the division? Like, no explanation about that one.
Did their hard was that the one that their hardcore one of the hardcore belts? We bought a hardcore belt and it had like barbed wire and I don't know if that was. I don't think that was Sooners though. Who was? I don't know though because you remember Shadow of Death?
I do.
Because if I'm not mistaken, he ended up buying that belt or they ended up giving it to him or something because he had won it a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember. It was like the big gold belt, but it was the plate was wooden and it had barbed wire. God, I can't remember where that
I do remember Travis.
come from.
Travis made his own like homemade hardcore title one time, and the side plates were made completely out of cheese graters,
Ooh,
and the front plate was an Oklahoma license plate with a ring of barbed wire wrapped around it. And I said, "Buddy, you can't even wear that." And he was like, "Still looks cool though." I was like, "Yeah, it looks cool, but you put it on, you're gonna cut yourself. Like no matter what, it's just a death trap." And right around the time I saw that title for the first time, I also saw him. He's the only person I ever saw do this up to this point. He took the net off of a tennis racket and replaced it with barbed wire. He didn't wrap it around it. Like he took the time to make it
oh, like the little
tight.
okay.
Like he made a tennis racket with barbed wire on it. I thought it was pretty dope. Because a couple years after that, like I'm still a teenager at this time, they busted that out at the underground arena one time, and he smacked somebody in the fucking head with it, and it kind of stuck on their forehead.
Ooh,
Yeah, it looked pretty intense. I was real impressed seeing that though, because it gave my brother the motivation, like or the inspiration, I guess, to go buy one of those electric bug zappers that looks like a tennis racket.
yeah.
And so like they're sweating and they're wet and like it's dark in this arena, so he goes and pops this dude on the head with it. And you saw sparks come off of his forehead. It was fucking
Okay.
dope. I was so happy I got to see that live. And you dude, the underground arena was cool, man. Like everything about that venue was perfect. The only thing that sucked about it was the heat. There was no heat in the building
That
because
would.
it's brick and mortar, concrete, and putty all the way around. There's no insulation in the building whatsoever. And the building was 200 years old. So, like, the building started to crack. So, like, you could
Oh.
almost to the point where you could see the light coming inside the building from outside. Like, it was so just old. So, they started putting up like layers and layers of plywood to kind of just like shut out the light and shut out the breeze that would come in. Because there's really nothing else you can do. But it was an intense winter every year we were there.
That definitely sounds like I don't even remember. I feel like it was. It definitely wasn't winter. I feel like it was probably middle summertime or something. That was when they were first. He was first starting out doing that Tornado Alley
Was it
Pro thing.
Mike
Yeah.
running those shows? See, we've done because that's out in Wagner.
Yep.
Tap was out in Wagner because we've actually done some events inside that same gymnasium. It's they did a few OKX, two OKXs there, and then they did several WFCs there because it's got that big bulldog painted on the wall.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so because like I always saw those pictures and was like, man, I'd love to wrestle there. And then one day I'm putting in the address on my GPS. I'm headed to WFC, and I realize where I'm going, and I'm like, no shit, I'm gonna wrestle in the tap venue. And it was like my second or third time there, and one of the wrestlers floods the toilet, and then there's an inch and a half of piss and shit water in
Oh.
the hallways. So they like have all the fans evacuate the building and stuff, and we're all standing out in the parking lot. And I remember myself and Sam Stackhouse, we were out there just like with a camera interviewing the fans, like, who did it? Who did it? Was it you? Was it you? Like, we're just fucking with everybody. And I know who did it to this day. I won't put them on blast, but they admitted it like a couple of weeks later.
Oh shit.
It was funny.
I'm trying to remember if that's the same building to where it was. I feel like it was like an NWA Universal or NWA Oklahoma or one of those. And this guy, I was talking to Burnham with about it not long ago, and he was like, he'd never heard from or seen the guy again. But this other guy, let like he cut the other guy, like the other guy cut him, and it
He
was
gigged for him.
yeah, it was the nastiest looking thing I've ever seen.
God,
It looked like the fake, like a movie, you know, when it just goes.
who did it?
The spoiler 2000, I believe, was the guy that had gigged the other guy. I can't even
Uh-huh.
remember the other guy because Burnham was talking about it, and he was like, I never saw or heard about that guy again after
What was
that.
the venue? Do you remember?
I'm pretty sure it was that.
You think it was
I'm
there?
pretty sure it was there because it
Do you
was.
think that was like an NWA Universal show or
I'm
like
pretty sure it was. Because I worked one of those, but I wasn't working that one. As a matter of fact, um, oh gosh, I was trying to think. I went just specifically to record somebody's match. Like I was ringside, like I was walking around, literally just walking around the ring,
the hand cam?
recording this match, and I can't remember. I wasn't there. Like I didn't record the guy when he started like bleeding. I was recording a girl, and I can't remember.
You just turn and it's just blood.
Oh man, that was
It sounds fucking gnarly.
it. They ended up taking him to like he ended up having to go like to the hospital
Yeah,
and
no
stuff because it
shit.
just like it just kept like we stopped the show
I
to
believe there's an
mop
artery up
and
there somewhere. I mean, if you get it too deep anyway, that's really close to a major organ. There's shit. I mean, I don't approve of like I don't want you to blade me. I don't want to blade you.
I've had that happen once.
The only time I'm gonna do it is if you're 100% like I absolutely want to get color, but I don't trust myself to do it right. I'll do it. I'll do it for you. I've done it for 4 people, maybe in 16 years. I'm not fond of it. I don't fucking want to do it.
I'd be too scared. I've had somebody do it to me, but I've never done it.
I trust myself with someone else more than I do with myself because I'll I've always been taught poke and twist, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you say, "Hey, gig me," that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna poke and twist, and that's it. Now, me, if I want good color, I'm gonna get pissed if I don't get good color, so I'll go an inch and a quarter across my forehead if I fucking have to. I was in a, and that sounds really, really ridiculous, but I was in a cage match in last year, 2024, and I was trying to be as subtle as possible when I passed my gimmick to my referee, and I noticed that I didn't get enough, and I had to ask her to give it back because I was like, "This is a big moment. We're in a big important cage match. You know, I need my color." Because I didn't get enough, and she was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" I said, "No, I'm serious." And she's like, "I threw it under their fucking ring." I said, "You better find it." So she crawls her ass under there, grabs it, and gives it back to me through the cage. Yeah, still didn't get. No one ever mentioned that they saw what happened though, so we did it enough with enough subtlety to, still passes legit. So wasn't worried about it.
I don't think I've ever been noticeable, but it's only been a few times anyway that I've done that.
Yeah, I say I've definitely done it more than I should have, because man, when I was coming up in Sooner World Class Wrestling, that was the hardcore promotion. Like that was the company where every show, the main event was a gimmick. It was always hardcore, and there was always blood, no matter what. It was like fucking Puerto Rico, and uh, so like my first match, I don't get any color, but my second match, excuse me, my first match I don't get any color, but my second match I do, and then like my fourth match I do, and then my fifth match I do, and then my 10th match I do, and like I'm sitting here coming to classes, like I'm in high school still, my senior year, I've got a band-aid on my forehead half the year, and I'm wearing a beanie just like this, and my teachers are asking me, they're like, "What's with the hat?" I'm like, I'm constantly covering up bandages, like they're like, "What are the band-aids from?" I'm like, "Wrestling." And they go, "Oh God, keep the hat on." Like eventually they just all accepted it. Like even the principal was like, "Keep the hat on. I don't fucking care." So like my whole senior year, like there'd be a guy wearing a ball cap and they'd make him take it off. And they'd be like, "What about him?" And they'd say, "First of all, that's stocking cap. Second of all, he's having a bad hair day. Leave him alone." Like they'd look out for me. Like there were some people, it was weird. It's kind of funny because there were like some teachers that were just like, one, I don't want to see that, and two, they were like inadvertently protecting the business a little bit because like it got really tiresome. Like there'd be times where it'd be like the third class in a row where I'm having to peel the band-aid off and explain like what happened, Well, I thought that shit was fake. I was like, no, it's real.
Yeah,
Ain't nothing fake about it.
I
Shit
was
fucking hurts.
I was out of school when because I was 18 when I started training. So
I was 14.
yeah, I was 18 in '05.
In hindsight, I wish I would have waited till I was 18 because I sacrificed a lot of shit from my childhood so that I could try to pursue my adult life like way too quickly. So like I grew up a lot sooner than I should have. I didn't need to be doing what I was doing when I was 15 years old cuz I'm I'm 15 and 16. I'm riding in the back seat to Tulsa with like Draven Cross, Corvin Sage.
Okay, yeah.
I want to go try to get booked, you know? And I'm passing up like proms. I'm skipping dances and I'm skipping football games and all the stuff you're supposed to do with the school as a kid. Like I skipped our I think the only thing that I actually committed to was the senior trip. And it was because we took a charter bus all the way to like Dallas for Six Flags.
Do you remember how you always got booked back then? Because like I know how I get booked now, but like back then I have no. I was always booked and I never asked. Like everywhere I went, I was always booked and I never asked to be booked anywhere.
Well, it
Now I mean I ask or I know where I'm booked at, but
when
like
I was that young, like I had to jump through hoops. Like I had to hide from the commissioner.
uh,
You know, like the promoter of those Tulsa shows was like, "Look, you come down, I'll see what I can do for you." Because half the time the commissioner leaves before intermission, and I was like, "You do that for me?" And I said, "I'll be there. You know, I'll help set up and tear down too, whatever you need." You know, he was doing me a really big favor, so I did him, you know, as much as I could do for him. Still do. And the deal was, uh, you need to just hide. And then if I come find you and I let you know that the inspector's gone, then you can hurry up and get your gear on and I'll let you know who you're working. But it was also weird because like it would be 50-50 for the other guy because you'd have a licensed worker sitting there not knowing if he's going to get booked or not. So like I'd be a little antsy, but nine times out of 10 it was like, "Hey, these guys are a tag team. He's going to do a one-on-one with that guy. He doesn't have a match cuz that guy's partner isn't here, so he might have not wrestled anyway. But if you can, sure." So there was always like rumors and stuff about me having a fake ID and stealing other people's licenses and shit. Like I never did any of that shit. I had an expired license of my brother's because whenever he got his second one, he just kind of threw his first one away, and I picked that up and I was like, "You're gonna want to keep this." I put it in my wallet. I never took it out of my wallet. I never had to show it to anybody. I never had to like try to like wiggle my way through an awkward conversation with an inspector. They didn't give a shit. They didn't care what I was doing, and I just went up there. My best experience out of that whole deal was the first match I had there because I think it was like 7 or 8 months. I kept going back, and it's once a month, so 7 or 8 matches. My first match in compound was with Dutch Hagen,
okay,
and I love Dutch to this day. He's
yeah,
so
did
cool, and
solid dude.
dude, he does this splash mountain power bomb. Right, he picks you up for a razor's edge, and then he like overhead presses you even higher so that you slide over the top of his head and then he sits down with you and you bump down on the ground. So it's like a Batista bomb and a razor's edge all in the same thing. But when he throws me up so that he can then catch me by the hips and then jerk me down, my head goes through the tile of the ceiling inside the venue we're in.
Was that
The
church?
church
Yeah.
building, yeah, with all because it like all the squares that had missing tiles, they put folding chairs up there to like close it up. Made no sense. It just made it look worse. But I was one of those people that knocked one of those tiles loose. He threw me so hard that I hit the tile. I bumped. The tile comes down, hits me on the head. He beats me 1, 2, 3. And we get in the locker room, and the only thing he said to me, he's like, "You're really snug." He was telling me I hit him too fucking hard. And I said, "Is that why you threw me through the ceiling?" And we both got a good laugh out of it. And then, you know, fast forward like 10 or 11 years, we're having a tag team match at WFC. And he's a professional. He's a very professional guy. but he had nicked himself shaving. He's bald headed now, you know. He nicked himself shaving, and when the match started, uh, something had happened. He just started bleeding. We've wrestled for 2 minutes, and his forehead's bleeding, and the top of his head's just pouring fucking blood. And I popped him in the forehead one time, and I said, "Do you want me to open that up for you?" And he goes, "No, my wife is here." And I said, "Oh no!" And then I started wiping it off throughout the whole match. I'm keeping his head clean so she doesn't tear his head off. It was one of the funniest match because we're both laughing so hard. Because if he gets hurt, she gets upset, and he's protecting her. And
Okay,
I don't
yeah.
know the woman from Adam, but I started protecting her too because I wanted to make sure she didn't get upset. It tickled the shit out of me. It was so funny.
That's fun, and it's funny because I know exactly the venue that you're talking about when you got
Tiny little
thrown in
room in the
that.
back of a church on North Sheridan.
Yeah, and that in that the church itself wasn't bad, but that building was just run down. Where the wrestling part was at, it was whatever that was. That building was
It was just
just
old Tulsa.
yeah. It was a
Everything.
cool building though. I mean, I
That room was itty bitty though. It was a tiny little room.
that's the same one where I was. My music was playing, and the lady that was there as the commissioner. I guess I don't know if she was late or what, but I couldn't even go out. I had to run all the way back around the building to get my
Your music's
license.
playing. She
And
wants you to
shut.
show her your license before you go.
Yeah, which is, I mean,
They're
whatever.
doing their
But
job, but damn,
yeah,
just sit tight. I'll bring it to you afterwards.
I told her I was like, I swear. I mean, I swear it's me. Like, I don't know whatever happened to him. I don't, he might not even still be alive. But there used to be a guy named Wilson. He was a real cool.
The inspector Wilson. Yeah, I
Yeah, he's
remember
really
Wilson.
cool.
Older cat.
He had let a lot of stuff slide. Oh, never mind. He did not.
There's
OAC.
a whole new regime. There's a whole new regime over there. No, they've gotten rid of everybody. They hired all new people. They're trying to train them to do it a different way so that they do their jobs and we do ours. And there's a lot of people that have heat with the Oklahoma State Athletic Commission, but I won't call myself an advocate for them, but I'm pro commission. I want there to be licensing and blood work, and I want them to loosen up on the boy girl wrestling because I mean, who cares? We're all pretending, but I definitely want to know for a fact that the guy I'm wrestling doesn't have AIDS.
That's
You know,
I would say because 20 years ago when I first started, we definitely did not do
no,
blood
see,
work.
like my first 2 years license, that was like I think it was like '09 and 10, and there was no blood work at all. It was just physical and license, and you just had to get. I mean, your physical for a wrestling license is so silly. It's like eyes, ears, nose, and throat, chest.
You know, a lot of places I went to, I refused. They would not do the physical because it said professional wrestling on the
I've
form.
never experienced that once. I think that's crazy. What I would always do is I would call my doctor and say, "I'm here for my annual physical. I need you to fill out this form. I need this physical to be signed by a DO or an MD." And they wouldn't. They'd say, "What's this for?" I'd say wrestling, and they'd say, "Oh, professional wrestling? What's that?" And I go, "Like professional wrestling." No kidding. Okay. And now I've got the same doctor every year I go. This is how much they don't care. I come in, I always do it in May. Just make sure I get it done early. I go in. She says, "Still wrestling?" I said, "If I wasn't, I wouldn't be here."
Right.
She says, "Okay." Nurse does all the work. Doctor signs. She initials, 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 and then she circles the thing at the bottom that says MD, puts her number there, and says, "Okay, see you next year."
I found one in Edmond, oh god, not an ER, but one of those
Like urgent care.
urgent care. Yeah, yeah. That's one I go to that does it. But
Well, like there's a bunch of people that have been having trouble lately getting the blood work, and I'm like, go to a DLO. You don't have to have an appointment. You don't have to have anything from the doctor. You go in and just request a test. There's a thing online called request a test. But you don't even have, you can walk in. You can walk in and make an order like you're at a drive-through restaurant. Tell them you need an HIV, hepatitis B and C test, and that you're paying cash. It's not cheap, but do you want to wrestle or don't you?
they sent my last year. pretty sure it was last year. I had them send my blood work to the commission. They sent my damn cholesterol results to the commission because what's the one lady, Anita or whatever her name was, that was always the one lady that was always like on the emails and stuff that would always email. She emailed me and she was like, we don't care what your cholesterol.
Give a shit what your cholesterol is.
I didn't know that's what they had sent though. That's funny. But
well, what I thought was funny about that too was there was one year where I got tested for everything. I said, just test me for everything. How many vials can you get? You know, just out of curiosity. And I mean, they took 8 or 9. They took a lot.
Oh my God.
I mean, they put one in and then they just start draining, you know, they replace it. And my insurance at the time was really good. So I was like, yeah, just test me for everything. And I said, what a silly thing to do when there's nothing wrong with you, you know? But it was cool to look at the paperwork, find out that I was actually healthier than I thought. Just assing off at the doctor's office.
If I did that, they'd probably be like, bro, you died 5 years ago. Your body just don't know it yet.
Like, you know that thing that you do where you don't breathe or fucking have a heartbeat? Yeah, we figured out why.
Your head's so big, it just kept you alive all these years. Oh my God.
You've been puppeteered this whole time. There's somebody just moving you around like a Weekend at Bernie's.
Oh my God.
You seen that movie?
I have, yeah.
Man, they need to make a good old fashioned like 90s comedy like that. Like what a concept. Like this guy's dead, but we're gonna spend 2.5 hours dragging him around.
Well, our president for the past 4 no, I'm just I'm just teasing. I'm not political. That's a joke.
Did you see the double? The guy, everybody was like, that's not our president. Look at his earlobes.
Oh yeah.
What a strange thing to give a shit about. Like, if they found that double and he's that good, just let him finish.
But yeah, let him be the president.
Let him finish.
I wouldn't even be mad at it then.
Who fucking cares? I mean, that's what everybody was like, we're a government without a president. I'm like, no, he's still there. Like, he's got like 2 more weeks. It's January.
Did you see the reporter? I think she was on CNN or one of those, and she blamed the wrestling fans and stuff for Trump's victory. She was like, "It's my generation."
You mean the fucking best version of America?
What did she say? Something about it's my the people that grew up on WWE or something like it. I just thought that stuff was. I just thought it was.
Dude,
funny.
There was another guy on Twitter that was like, you know what's wrong with this country? They ended the Attitude Era, and I haven't. And I haven't heard and he was like, I haven't heard a Foxworthy joke in 15 years. Bring back You Might Be a Redneck. Bring back Larry the Cable Guy. Where are the real comedians? It's like, what a silly concept.
Do you remember? I'm sure you do, because I thought back in the day, of course, I was dumb, but when Hogan, the WCW thing, when Hogan for president,
yeah,
I really thought he was going to run for president back in the day when.
These kids are running around the kitchen in circles. When you hear the floor rumble like that, I could see Hogan running for president. Not now, definitely not.
No.
Dude, when he was Mr. America in like 2003, that'd have been the time. That would have. What if the whole deal? Because that's what he was doing in the late 90s when he retired.
Oh yeah,
they were his real retire. He was gonna run for president. It was a publicity stunt. That was right before he went to WCW. He goes in. It wasn't 99. It was like 97. But whatever year that was, after like Brett and Yoko at WrestleMania. Like shortly after that, Hogan's out.
Okay, yeah.
Shortly after that, Hogan's out. Once Hogan's out, he's gonna retire and he's gonna be a politician. And then the Turner offers him like $2 million a year. He's like double his salary.
I'll tell you who I honestly like. I think would be a legit, really good politician. I think would probably be Flair. I think he'd be a good.
Yeah, when he was a little more cognitive.
Oh yeah, not
now. I don't think Flair should do anything. I think they should take his fucking Twitter away. And it's not because I don't like that he's communicating publicly. I just wish he wouldn't. Because every single time he says something silly, he kind of hurts
Oh God, we used to, where he's talking about Carrie Silken and all that. Did you see all
Yeah,
them
yeah, he's
tweets?
just
And
burying people.
well, and when he first tweeted it, it was just some random like, oh, some dude owes me $2 million, and
There's gonna be a lot of people out there that are owed money, but
oh
like
yeah,
airing it out publicly like that's not a good look, no matter what.
no, and he's probably drunk when he. Well, I mean, he was hungover when I met him, and like he's one of my favorites of all time. But it was just a little disappointing, because he just
You were hoping you'd get a little more than that.
yeah, no, not smiling or anything. Just
That's the worst, man. And I seen those two because, like I said earlier, I'm a big Punk fan, right? But like his big thing is after the show autographs. Like when they do live events and stuff, like they'll send the main event out to the pit. They'll sign signs, they'll sign title belts, they'll sign whatever. And I see a bunch of them of Punk, and he's just like, it's not a
yeah,
smile. It's like a Jack Lemon high cheek just stare. And I was like, man, bro, show some teeth, something like act like you're happy about it
yeah.
because he's thrilled to do it, I'm sure. But it's like he's sitting there staring while he's signing an autograph, trying to multitask. It's like, bro, act like you want to be there.
I will say that he did at least smile and was friendly to the little girl that everybody let in front. She was some sort of handicap in a wheelchair and stuff. He was
Well, of
nice
course,
and
yeah. I
stuff to
mean,
her. So
here's the thing. I'm all for that. Absolutely, let them in front and get them to their seats. Make sure they have the best time possible. But just treat everybody the same.
yeah,
Just like you should, even if you've done it for 40 years, be thrilled to be there because the whole thing was about you anyway. That you're talking about Flair's last match.
yeah, yeah.
Everyone's here for you. Just be thrilled. Be happy.
I wanted so bad. I kind of wish I would have done the thing where they did the action figure, but it was $400, and at the
That's
time I
rough.
was just like, I'd saved a lot to go down there, but I was
Mm-hmm.
just like,
400's a lot.
I was thinking, do I want to like eat something nice, when I'm here, try something out, or do I want to spend $400 and take a?
I don't think I want to spend that much money. I don't think I want to spend that much money for fucking anything.
It was well, just meeting him was two. I mean, I'd pay
Yeah,
$200 just
that's
to
what I'm
meet
saying.
him.
That's why he
So
wants to have another match because he made a shit ton of money that day,
yeah, oh yeah.
and he'll make just as much on that day. He might charge more just because.
I don't even know who would wrestle him at this point, or I mean, I'm sure somebody would. I mean, it would have to
He could
be
definitely do like Jay Lethal in a one-on-one. It would be 5 minutes long, and they'd be working that figure four for a while.
Hogan and Flair.
Oh God, that would be.
Well, the last time I think they did that was that Australian tour or something, and that
Was
was
that after TNA or before?
I don't, it was that Hulkamania. You know what I'm talking about? That Hulkamania
Yeah.
tour or
Well, they did
whatever.
that. Like it was at Impact Wrestling where they both just bled buckets. They wore white shirts and they just bled all over each other. They fought all over the fucking venue.
I don't
I,
know
I
if
don't think anyone took a bump, and Hogan won with a clothesline because he couldn't do the leg drop.
that was, yeah,
I think they milked a sleeper for like 4 or 5 minutes too. It was a long night.
I always wish Abyss would have did something in WWE as Abyss.
Man, he could have been a big opponent for the
I was gonna say
Undertaker,
him and
and
Taker.
that was the plan. He almost went, and something happened, and it didn't work out. I never got to ask him about that. That was going to be my one question. Like, if you did, because like right before, so I'm not trying to make this about me, but um, right before we dropped this dude off at his hotel, because I wrestled him 3 times.
Abyss.
We brought Abyss in 3 times to work MSWA. 3 death matches. The third one turned into a 6-man tag, and it was a 6-man tag, like thumbtack match. Well, we bring him in and we do the tag, and at the end of the night, like right before he closes the door, he says, I love you guys. I hope we get to do something. Because we had talked about doing an ambulance match in the future. He's like, that could be a lot of fun.
Oh, that would be fun.
And he was like, it's not hard to get them. You just contact the fire department, see if they're willing to bring it into the venue, back it in, and then just promise not to break anything, right? So he's like, I really hope we get to do it, boys. He says, but hey, just in case this is the last time I see you, keep an eye on your Twitter tonight. And I'm like, what is that all about? Well, that was Saturday night. I didn't hear nothing till Monday morning. I texted him to make sure his plane landed safely, and I just wanted to say, thank you one more time. And as I'm waiting for a reply, I'm watching Twitter, and it says Chris Park signs with WWE to be a member of the creative team. And I don't know that my match was his last match on the Indies, but it was one of his last matches on the Indies.
That's cool
That was
though.
very cool. And I know, from what I've heard, I haven't talked to Sam in a while, but he said they stay in touch every now and then. I don't bother the guy because very tiny part of his life. I'm not trying to just act more important than I am, because
Yeah.
that's greedy. I don't want to be greedy, especially don't want to be left on red and have it tarnish what I do have.
Right. Yeah. Now I feel you. I think I guess depending on who it was. I mean, obviously, if it was somebody like Flair or Hogan, I'd probably name drop. Oh, hey.
Well, dude, I won't lie. Like there are some names, like names, recognizable wrestling people, um, that contact me often, and I've gotten to where I don't respond because I don't want to spend the money.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like one of well, we talked about 2 dates, man. When's that other date gonna happen? And it's like, man, I just don't have the money, or either that or they did something stupid, and I don't want to be like, man, you should have been doing stupid shit on Instagram. Like I'm not bringing you in now.
Yeah.
I don't want to hurt their feelings, but I also want to be kind and like cordial about it. I don't want to be hurtful, but I also just don't want to bring those people in because it'll make my company look bad.
Uh,
I say there's one. It's like I don't want to book him because he'll make my company look bad. There's others where it's like I just don't have the money,
oh yeah. Some of them
and
are
I don't
expensive.
know that you would be a. And again, not to be hurtful, but I just don't know that they would be a big enough attraction for me to justify the cost.
Well, and there's so much wrestling in Oklahoma too.
Yeah.
It's just hard to get a huge giant crowd with
Well,
anybody really because I mean it's
it's a
like
niche. It's a niche crowd because there's a style. Oklahoma has a style. And if you're not a fan of the style that Oklahoma produces, you're probably not going to attend the shows. If you enjoy what we do, you'll be at every show, which there's a lot of that.
yeah, they're yep.
And then you have certain fans who are like, well, I only go to this place because they do what I like. And then there's like, I only go to this place because they book the people I like. And then there's, well, I go to this place because they take care of me. There's some promoters that kiss ass. They will absolutely suck up to the fans. And then when they do that, the fans feel like entitlement. And it's like, well, they'll do this there. How come you won't? And because that doesn't benefit me or my company. And I love my fans. I love our fans, but I can't give special treatment to certain people just because. I have to treat everyone equally because it's fair and that's the right thing to do.
Oh yeah.
It is what it is. You might lose some people because you don't kiss their butts, but it is what it is.
Well, I mean, and then that's where you get those crazy ones too. That just
I don't want them. I
no.
don't want the crazy ones.
Mm-mm.
I had somebody message me the other day and demand that I stop running shows on the same day as the other promotion that they also like.
Yeah.
I said I can't control that. I can't decide when they run shows.
Right.
That's not how that works. Typically, I run the second Saturday of each month, and if something crazy happens where the calendar, adjusts the weekend to where I can't do that, I'll run the first. And if I have a second show in the same month, it'll either be the third or the fourth. They just have to be spread out enough to where it makes sense. But you can't please everybody, and you don't have to come to every single show. Take a weekend off. Go to a Motley Crue concert. Go do something else. Wrestling ain't everything, dude.
No, and I mean, it's like Motley Crue would be fun.
Motley Crue would be fun.
It'd be really fun. I had tickets to Guns N' Roses one time, and when I split up with one of my exes, they did something with those tickets. Because when I went back to get all my shit, I got all my shit except for the tickets. Yeah, I won those on the radio too. That's what the bad part about that
I would have
was.
called. I would have been like, "Hey, man, we'll call. I'm the fucking radio guy."
I was upset.
Something.
Because that was the last time they came up here to the BOK or Oklahoma City to the BOK.
So we'll end on this note. Three bands, 3 concerts that you haven't been to that you want to go to.
Ooh, Guns N' Roses, Motley Crue, and Queen.
Queen would be fun.
Queen, yeah.
God, that one's kind of tough for me. Okay, so like, because there's several bands that I've wanted to see that I've seen. My brother went to Seven Dust
Oh,
when
that'd
I
be
was,
fun.
dude.
Okay.
I was like 14. I wasn't old enough to go, and I've wanted to go to see a Seven Dust concert live ever since. And then the other ones would be like a Perfect Circle and Chevelle.
Okay.
That's my stuff right there. Main reason I'd want to go see them is because they've always come into town together, and every time that I almost get to go, I miss it.
I saw Everclear, but
Nice,
I worked at the casino that they came to, and I just happened to be at
nice.
work when they came.
Speaking of casinos, one more. What's the best concert you've ever been to?
Ooh, probably a Skillet. I've never been to like a real concert, or like, you
Was
know
it
what I mean,
was
but like,
Skillet at the Frontier City?
the first time they were outside of the Navy Center in Tulsa. But yeah, I
Nice.
did go to the one at the
I used to
Frontier
really
City.
enjoy Skillet. I would have gone to a Skillet. I'll tell you the best concert I ever went to in my life. Free concert at the Newcastle Casino. Joan Jett and the Black Hearts.
Okay, I can dig it. I
It
like
was
old ass music
fucking
anyway.
awesome. It was incredible. They were kicking ass, dude. It was just an old bitch on stage. Beautiful old bitch on stage, just shaking her ass in leather pants and like dancing with all these drunk hillbillies, Harley Davidson hat wearing motherfuckers. It was a blast. I was there with Rick Russo, the old guy that used to live with me, and we were just jamming, just fucking jamming. They had seats. I was like, they shouldn't have done seats. They should have just let people stand.
Stan, yeah.
It would have been because no one was sitting down. There was like a group of people off to the side in like a hand, cause it's kind of like a handicap section, like wheelchair accessible
Oh,
area. It
okay,
was
yeah.
just a bunch of older guys. Every one of them were just extremely like obese Harley Davidson riding guys. Like they got off their trike and got onto a wheelchair. Like, but not one like actual injured person, just a bunch of fucking
Old
old
people, yeah.
awesome people. Like I was with my people.
I was
Like
say,
that
yeah,
was it was
that's
dope.
they get annoyed with me at work because when I get there before everybody else and open, I turn on it's 70s, 80s, and 90s
Fucking
on,
A.